Welcome to the Circle Star Firearms and Outdoors podcast, your home for the latest products and news in the shooting sports, hunting, and the great outdoors. And now, here are your hosts, Jake Cawthon and Jason Westmoreland.
Hey everybody, it's Jake and Jason here, coming at you semi-live from another Circle Star Firearms and Outdoors podcast.
We're here.
It's here.
Still
doing our thing,
it's
having
day.
fun.
Here around Little Anderson, it's been raining a lot, so it's a little muddy outside, but it is a little humid.
That's
toasty.
That's the worst part of it all.
It's
God,
awesome.
You just walk outside, feel like you need a shower.
Right. Yeah, you just sweat by the time you get to your truck. Guys, if you're listening, thank you. If you're not listening, well, then this doesn't matter because you can't hear this anyways.
Nope.
But keep telling your friends about us. We appreciate you. We get more and more listeners every week, and that means a lot to us. We have a lot of fun. If you have any suggestions, any ideas, any of that good stuff, just you can type them there. You can put them in the YouTubes. If you're watching on the YouTube, you can contact us via phone, email, or a website. So let us know what you think.
If you're old school like Jason, write us a letter.
Oh, dude, I haven't got a letter forever. That'd be so cool. Like that whole generation of letter writers has kind of died off. A lot of people still do the Christmas card and the family pictures.
It's the same thing with you never. I mean, outside of the older generation out there, you don't ever see cursive anymore. I don't think they. I remember Becca telling me that they introduce it in school, but they don't require it in school. They do just like a little bit, so you kind of know it, but then they don't ever require it. You just write however the hell you want.
Cool.
I guess. But I will say this: it is kind of it's a bittersweet and exciting moment at the moment.
Yeah.
Because we're back from Montana. We talked about that the last podcast. The trials and tribulations of the bear hunt and all the craziness that happened there. Which I know we're in 2024, but that's kind of the end of that season. I always look at, the year, just kind of like a license year, the 2023-2024 hunting season. You start with dove in September and we end with bear in May, and that's kind of the block of the hunting season. And even though we still get out, we shoot predators and pigs and we get out and do stuff, that season's over. So that's the sad part about it.
Gotcha.
But the fun part about it, I'm already planning into next year.
Yeah.
I've already.
No, you got to, especially if you do draws or any of that stuff. Already had to do it. So. Oh
yeah, we've been messing with it for a while. I missed one draw. I completely forgot about it till it popped up on my Facebook. People were getting excited, and it's the Oklahoma has an elk season, and it's a hard draw, but it looks like a fun one. And I meant to put in for it this year, but I forgot to. We'll do it next year. But for me, I've
that's got to be a cool one because you can probably spot them for like 9 miles away. It's all flat.
Yeah, and the success is actually pretty good. Their bulls aren't bad. It's just it's nice that it's not 29 hours from here.
Yeah, that's a drive. I thought you were going to say bittersweet because yes, end of one season, starting another, but we're losing like one of the OGs around here that helped us start this company.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Mr. Boogie Love, he has been with us for a long time, and he has he's kind of taken a job he can't refuse. So he's found a job guiding in South Dakota. Mm-hmm. The job was offered to him, and he went up there a couple times, and he met a girl, as happens.
That happens.
And he
got smitten.
He came and he's like, "Hey man,
bit by the love bug.
I got to." And it's hard. He was living with me at the time that when he came right afterwards, and I was like, "Oh man." So my son's, that's his BFF, and it's hard to see him go. It's weird walking around downstairs like me not saying something really inappropriate to Boogie and it coming back. It's going to be odd.
It is, and it's. You're 100% right. It's the end of an era with Boogie because he was one of our first true regular customers, and a lot of those folks that have been around the store for a long time or been around us a long time realize Boogie has been a very integral part of the store.
Oh yeah.
But y'all don't understand how vital he was 6 years ago, 7 years ago. Because when we first moved from the little place at the house to our old shop before we're here in the location we're at now, it was just at that point, it was just Jason and I. No employees, no nothing. And for one of us to have a day off, I mean, I guess it was good we were kind of slow then. You know, we weren't as busy as we are now. That we could man the store to basically just one person. It would get kind of crazy and kind of hairy, but it would just
everybody understood. It was a tiny little store. It was nowhere.
And we're hustling, and you know that whole. I mean, it was the American
and it's small
dream
enough.
happening.
Everybody's getting acknowleded. It's not like anybody's getting ignored when they walk in.
No. The store is about the size of the room we're standing in now.
You can't. Yeah, we were probably touching you if you were in our room.
But when Boogie would show up, it was the greatest thing in the world because he'd go sit in that stool, and Boogie's quiet, and he wouldn't say much.
But he'd let you go poo.
That was the best thing in the world. I'd be like, Boogie, you're in charge. He just kind of look around, like, just don't let people steal stuff. I'll be back in 2 minutes. And you run back there, and you try not to have an aneurysm while you fast poop, and you're just like, you just see him pull in the drive, and you've been trying to pinch it off for hours and hours. You're like, it's the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, so, he's been so many. We've gone on so many hunt adventures and done so much. He's been, man. I'll never forget one of my top hunting trips ever. Just experience wise would be Lake Meredith with Boogie, and up there in the Panhandle, we caught every freaking temperature you could imagine, from just burning up hot. All the weather conditions, the wind, the rain. At one point, it felt like there was a tornado, and then you're in the middle of the desert. It was a good time.
So I was not on that trip. Jason, Boogie,
that's why it was so fun.
It's probably true. But at the time, let me paint a picture for y'all. For just don't close your eyes because you're driving, but just imagine an old Dodge pickup truck, what was it, 2003 ish?
Yeah, I think it was a 07 actually. Yeah.
Either
but
way,
it doesn't matter.
So a guy had came down to fire school from Canada, and didn't want to take it back with him because it was a piece of junk. Our favorite thing to do, because it was, the road salt in Canada had just eaten away at everything. Our favorite thing to do is just
my favorite thing to do.
Peel chunks of it off because it's just flaking off like the bed. And we just pulled pieces and parts, and it was horrible. And how he made it Lake Meredith and back, I'll never know.
You could walk to just about any part of the truck and stick your finger through it.
Oh yeah, it was awful.
It was awesome. The interior was pristine though.
Oh yeah,
that's all that mattered.
But not the radio. No. So it's about 10 hours to Meredith, 11 hours to Meredith, somewhere like that.
Yeah.
And for the entire way up and the entire way back, they had a Michael Jackson Greatest Hits CD.
It was stuck in there, and it had been stuck in there, and that's where it lived.
But the problem was that no matter what button you pushed, it only stayed on the CD. Mm-hmm. So for about 20 hours round trip, it was just MJ's Greatest Hits.
And so you couldn't adjust the volume. You couldn't eject it. You couldn't stop it. You couldn't do anything. It just played on this endless loop. On the bright side, it wasn't too loud, but it was loud enough to where you could jam along with it. It's really cool for the first 3 or 4 hours. And then about the second time that it comes through and plays again. And
then the third.
But I tell you what.
And then the fourth.
Boogie and I know every Michael Jackson Greatest Hits by heart. That trip was funny for another. So, truck as sad. That truck. So as we're going, people keep passing us on this 10-hour drive, and they're pointing at the back and pointing, they keep staring. And a couple things were happening. One, the truck was disintegrating as we were driving.
Imagine if you had if you had got a load of dirt and put in the bed of the truck and just drove off. The little stuff would flake off, the loose stuff would blow down the road. But in his case, it's actually pieces and parts of the truck.
When you watch any show about when somebody dies and ascends to heaven and how their spirit goes up there and they particleize and it goes up. That was what my truck was actively
when
doing.
Scotty gets beamed up, the little pieces and parts.
So we get there, almost there, and we're on the feeder road, and we're about to take our last exit, doing about 70 miles an hour, and the tailgate fell off. And when I say it fell off, it fell off.
It left the chat.
But on one, it had one of the cables on one side held. So the amount of sparks that was behind that drive, not like we could just pull over. So by the time we did, there wasn't a lot of the tailgate left, and it had bounced up a couple of times and just smacked the truck so hard. It was a good truck. Had lots of great times in it. Yeah. It got us there, and it got us back somehow, and then I sold it. It was a night always check your surroundings when you camp. If you find a good place in nature that's flat and open and amongst a bunch of trees and things like that, there's probably a reason why. Ours was we didn't look close enough, and there was a badger den that we basically put our tents in between. It was right under a log that we like backed up to.
And everyone knows badgers have such a sunshiny disposition.
And when he woke up and came, he was pissed. And it was just the best conversation. Like I just heard him come out and he's growling and he's sniffing and he's right next to my tent. And Boogie and I's tent are about 2 foot apart and he's in between them. And I'm like, Boogie, there's a badger. He's like, shut up, I know. Just don't make any noise, he'll go away. I'm like, all right. Oh man. He got a little worn out the first day. I pushed him a little too hard on the trip, maybe the second day. And so he spent most of the rest of the week in camp befriending a prairie dog. And by the end of it, he got that prairie dog where it would come up right next to him and like clap. And Boogie would hand him a chip and then he'd run off. And he'd pop back up and he'd rub at him and he'd clap his hands. And Boogie'd give him a chip. And I'm like, well, I didn't kill anything, but obviously you spent your time well because you've trained a wild prairie dog to clap. So I thought that was cool.
I mean, don't get me wrong, that's a skill worth having.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, so many good hunts, good times. We're going to miss him a lot. But whatever that guy does, he's going to succeed at it. He's got that personality, that mentality. He's tenacious.
I mean, and it's not like he's just moving up to South Dakota just going into the blind. You know, he's got a good support group up there. His uncle lives up there.
Uncle Jeff is just the coolest, manliest man you'll ever want to meet. He's always smiling. He reminds me a lot of Boogie. So I know they're going to have a good time together. And
with cross your fingers, maybe he'll get us some good hunting access up there.
Some geese, some pheasant. I know he's after the birds. He's wanting to look into doing some of the mammals, the mammalia. But you know, Boogie, his passion is those flying things.
Oh, absolutely.
That have all turned out to be robots now. But
that's exactly what they are.
Yep. COVID was just so they could recharge batteries.
That's what they had to do. They're good for 100 years, I guess. You know, you had the Spanish flu, had to recharge batteries. Boom.
I get it. It's funny how the hunting buddies, come in and out of your life, but they're always there. That you have friends from college and stuff like that you won't talk to anymore after or high school. Once they're gone, you keep up with them on Facebook. Hunting buddies aren't like that. You're like, hey, dude. So I hear where you're at. There's some really big bucks.
Yeah.
or come back down here. Hey man, I need to get my pig fix taken care of.
Yeah. Hey, I got a weekend off coming up. Y'all, you got room at the house there for me?
Yeah.
Maybe we do a little hunting while we're there.
That's how you keep it. This is a solid hunting.
Yeah, there's nobody that begs worse than a hunting buddy.
Oh no, hey man! But in reciprocation,
it always
there's always a trip on the other side for you, and normally a good bottle of whiskey in the mix. That's as a thank you too, or something like that.
Oh yeah, I mean that is the going currency of free hunts.
Speaking of that, I wasn't able. My mother-in-law just had knee replacement surgery.
Oh, you missed a rock.
Yeah, and I was going to ask. So last Friday was our first ever cigar and whiskey night.
And you're always worried about when you start new events here at the store because you never know how well they're going to be received. Who's going to show up, who wants to hang out, the vibe they bring.
Yeah, there's going to be an idiot who just wants to slam whiskey and
or
make an ass of themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, so we had a local mobile. It's a cool concept. He's got like a pop-up cigar shop. And
what?
Yeah, is what he does. He's got a real day job, but he is a cigar. I mean, like talking to us about guns, talking to him about. I got a heck of a crash course. I'm not.
Now is he like?
I'm not a big cigar guy.
This is on the up and up, or is he like the cigar version of a moonshiner, a bootlegger?
He has some hand rolls, so I'm gonna go with.
Did they smell funny?
Not skunky.
Was he smoking them on the left hand? No. So all right, well,
he shows up. He's a local guy out in Navasota, and what he does, he has a mobile pop-up cigar shop. So sometimes he'll go to like some farmers markets and sell some of the stuff that. I mean, he's deep into it. He's hand rolling his own stuff. He's importing stuff. He's just buying on the wholesale side. But I'm not a cigar guy. I'll be upfront on it. It's just not my thing. But I give into peer pressure. I want to participate. So yeah. I'll walk over and say, hey, I'm not a cigar guy. But I want to support you. I want to support the event. I'm just looking for something. And he recommended this little like cigarella thing that was probably the best one I've ever smoked. I really, really liked it. And then, you hear him talking to other guys, and he's like, okay, what are you drinking? What do you like? Do you like a heavy smoke? Do you like real, you like, smoke forward or flavor forward or all this stuff? He's like, okay, this one here. And like every guy that got one had a great time. And so the way we ran this, and this way we're going to keep running it, is that this is kind of a get to know your neighbor, have a good time type of thing. There's not a fee to it, but you kind of have.
It's kind of like a potluck.
Kind of. There you go. Potluck, great way to say it. I was going to. So you bring your favorite whiskey or whatever it is, something that's going to pair well with it. If you got your own cigars, you can bring them. He's going to have something that you can buy. His prices were super reasonable, from what everybody told me. And so, hey, I've always wanted to try that, or I want to try a little bit of this. And, everyone kind of shares. Everyone is responsible about it. The best thing that I had through it, it was Steve-O brought it. So,
well, Steve-O, everybody's here. Dang it.
Yeah, you missed a rock
I
star
know I
time.
did. I looked at the camera sometimes, and I was just like,
Sucks to be you.
Yep.
But so I didn't know they're making this, and apparently it's $24 a bottle. So if you're an old-fashioned enjoyer,
Connoisseur.
I wouldn't necessarily connoisseur at this point because there's better. But if you are looking for if you're looking for a drink, like let's say you're going to go to the river, this would be a perfect river drink. You're looking to go to the river, but you don't want to sit there and slam Coors Light.
Yeah.
But you want something that's cold, like a good cocktail, but you don't, you're not going to be in the river, at the lake, or on the boat, with your bitters, and you're muddling your sugar and all the stuff. Treaty Oak makes a ready-to-drink old-fashioned cocktail.
I have had it at his house before. When he started talking about it, it's like, oh, you're going to talk about the ready-made.
Oh, yeah, it's ready-made. It's Treaty Oak whiskey. It's got real bitters and it's everything that is an old-fashioned, but ready to drink, and it was phenomenal.
Did you like it? So
And the best part about it is it's strong. It's like drinking regular whiskey.
It is. It is strong.
Oh, yeah.
I was at Steve's house and I had about 3 of them. I was like, whoa, these are stronger than ones I make.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, for out of the bottle, I think John turned him onto them, and they kind of made it up and down our neighborhood, and everybody's been really, really digging it, really enjoying them. I've been impressed. Any other whiskeys that you got to try that? I'm sure Dustin brought out something good.
So he brought, and I've never heard of him before, but it was Andalusia whiskey.
Okay.
It's a new micro distillery out of the Hill Country. They brought their whiskey, and they have a smoked old fashioned that's ready to drink.
Cool.
The old fashioned would be good, but I'm picky about it, and so they didn't. You can't put real smoke in a bottle, obviously, right? So I think it was like artificial smoke, smoke flavoring.
Like the barbecue stuff.
Yeah. That kind of took it back from me.
I got it. Was anybody out there actually smoking any old fashions or anything? Or? Okay, that's what I'll do next time. Next, what is it? It's the
last Friday of every month.
Last Friday of every month, starts at 5 p.m. Really starts kicking off about 6, I believe, when we get out of here, or we start closing up the shop. But
and you and I haven't talked about this yet, so I'm just going to throw it out on the podcast.
Do it.
It's a great idea. So I was sitting there, and it kind of goes in step with kind of what we've talked about before, and the fellow that owns, his name's Eric. Eric was talking about the cigar guy. He was talking about he has this idea. He wants to do some stuff. He goes, I go to all these events. I go to weddings or bachelor parties or corporate events, and they're fun. But I have a lot of friends that do other similar things. But we try to set up at a farmer's market. Well, no one's there to smoke a cigar or taste whiskey. You're there to buy vegetables or some honey.
If I get stuck at a farmer's market, I can guarantee you I'm going to try to find a whiskey and cigar.
But he's got a core group of friends that kind of have the same idea, the little pop-up shop thing.
Right.
But they're all dude based. Like there's whiskey and knives and cigars and other like leather goods and a bunch of neat stuff. He's like, hey, what if we did like a dude farmer market here?
Cool.
Like just throw up some tents on the side here and just nothing but like cool guy stuff. Like what a gun show used to be. It's like, man, that's actually kind of a fun idea.
Yeah.
Something different. So we may be working into that, but the last Friday of, what are we in now, June?
We are.
Yep. That we'll be doing the cigars and whiskey again. We'll have some fun stuff. as we go along, we're actually looking to start partnering up or pairing up with some local micro distilleries or some distributors to actually bring out some stuff, whether you want to try Penelope or whatever.
Something
different, something new.
different. It's a big one.
Come try their stuff out, pair it with a good cigar. But the main thing is we'll we do it later in the evening so it's not so dang hot. But just hang out, shoot the breeze, meet some folks you never met before.
The cool thing is, already if they're here, they like guns, they like whiskey, they like cigars. I mean, you're probably going to be pretty cool.
And if they like us, they're absolutely super cool.
You mentioned the word different a minute ago, and our buddy Dave Lewis, he found something different. And when I read the description of it, I think it's probably going to be a no for me, but I'm going to try it.
There's no way it's not a no.
I can't even talk about it probably without gagging. So he found a company in New Hampshire that makes custom boots. And like custom, so custom that
3-year wait time.
There's a 3-year wait time. And before you go to them, or before you get them, you have to go to New Hampshire and do a final fitting. And right there in the area, they have a distillery that makes crab whiskey.
Yeah,
from an invasive species that they've learned how to,
like the Green River crab or something. Like
distilled.
They make a whiskey, but I'm only thinking that they got some part. I mean, I've made whiskey before, right? So you make the mash, you get the corn and the yeast and the rye, and you do the stuff and the whole process. Like you get the process, but at what point do you just get like a whole bucket full of crab and you're like, hey? Idea.
It's different. I mean, and now I gotta try it.
See, I mean, I've had whiskey that was, I've had honey whiskey, and I've had.
I'm sorry I don't have the name of it right off the top of my head, guys. But if you got your phone or computer next to you, just probably Google crab whiskey. There can't be more than one in the world. I promise.
It's awful.
but you never know. You might taste it and be like, it might be like our go-to from now on at a crawfish boil. You go to, there's something about the taste that just went. I don't think so. I really don't. I'm giving it every benefit of the doubt before I try it.
All I can imagine is you took like a local whiskey and mixed Old Bay seasoning in, and then there you are. It sounds more like a bad shot than it does anything.
Okay, so you're picturing it after it's already been seasoned and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't. I was thinking like crab water. Crab juice. Like you take some crabs and you just throw them in a blender and then you strain them, and that juice you get out of the bottom, you just mix that in some whiskey, and there you go. It's kind of like doing the toe shot in Alaska.
Oh yeah, the sour toe.
The sour toe. Yeah. And for those of you who don't know about it, a lot of you do. There's now I think it's moved to a couple cities, but one in particular, it's not I can't think of the town off the top of my head. But
it's the big town in that gold miner TV show. We really need a laptop to
we
Google
do,
stuff.
so we could just Google stuff. But that's how your brain stops working.
It is.
I mean, it's not like we're doing real good now. But anyways, so if you lose your toe to frostbite in the area, you take it to the bar. And they keep it
in a bottle of whiskey.
Yep. And then if you're feeling you're froggy enough, you can just go in and say, "Hey, give me a toe shot," and they will. Pour you a shot.
They get you a shot, and then it's in a rocks glass because Dave did it when he was there, and of
course he did. Yeah, that's absolutely Dave.
It's a frostbitten black toe, that's God knows how old, and they put it in there, and it has, for you to win or get your certificate, it has to touch the lips.
Yeah. So, I hope everybody's got that visual. I've done the
Dawson Creek. It's in Dawson Creek, Alaska.
I've done the Indian liqueur with the snake in it.
Oh yeah.
I've done
Did it help your vitality?
It didn't.
Aw.
It helped me my I've done everybody's done the mezcal, which is mezcal in general is just horrible with the worm in the bottom of it.
Mm-hmm. Did you eat the worm?
I have.
Did you see?
At that point, you might as well. I mean,
you're that far.
You're that far gone. The worst thing I've ever drank was the tequila you had in an AK-47 bottle.
I'm 900% sure that was just rubbing alcohol that was like stained.
I would have never, ever in a million years taken even a sip of it after smelling it.
Oh, yeah, it's awful.
Because you're like, I
The
was like,
bottle was
good-
so cool, though.
Yeah, and it was a cool bottle, and the whole thing was like $19. That lets you know what what's inside of it.
It's not good.
And they're trying to get me to drink it. I'm like, no, I'm just not going to. And granted, we're on our pachanga, our dove hunt. It's about 11 at night. We're all sitting around a fire.
Like a
no,
mile and a half from
no.
Mexico. You got to do it.
And I look at
You
Jake,
take it, when in Mexico, you take the AK tequila shot. That
and I
is a
didn't
rule.
realize how far gone Jake was because I looked at him and I was like, I tell you what, I'll match shot for shot with Jake. And Jake takes it, and then I realized how drunk he was because he took the top off the bottle and he like just took it to the head, just gulp, 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 gulp. And I wanted to throw up as I was watching him do it,
Yeah.
but then he handed it to me.
It's like one of those TikToks you see, dumb ways to die.
And I got that first little
Ways
bit
to
once
die.
it got about to the back of my throat. And then everything I'd eaten for the previous 3 days decided to come up. It was an indescribable flavor.
And I want to let y'all know, I kept it all down.
He did.
'Cause I'm a trooper, sir.
And I think you had enough alcohol in you that none of your muscles were working. You couldn't throw up if you wanted to.
Nope.
But and then everybody gave me shit about it for like 3 days. Oh, you can't hold it down. But none of the people who picked on me about it tried it. Mm-hmm. And I felt like going to get a bottle if I could find another one down there and be like, here, you see what I mean?
Just go.
Do it. Oh, the smell of that. But it was a cool bottle. You were right. Mm-hmm. And I thought, did we save it? I think Daniel got
I
it.
think Daniel has still.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what we have to look forward to this cigar and
Yes.
whiskey thing. And the thing is, if you like one or the other, or if you want to bring something, it doesn't necessarily have
we
to
can
be
do
whiskey.
scotch too. I mean,
Whatever you'd like to bring and share, and as we go, I'm gonna start working on some little door prizes and some
maybe
fun
even
stuff.
there's some of us out there. I know. Mike Donald. He's a tequila guy. Mm-hmm. He's a tequila connoisseur. He's not doing the Cuervo and stuff like that. He likes the top shelf.
Oh yeah.
Just sipping.
And there's
And it's cold enough.
there's
I don't mind.
there's
The
gotta be
silvers.
there's gotta be stuff that whiskey and cigars just kind of have that mutual pairing.
They do.
Just historically. But I bet you there's plenty of people that like I bet you there's a good rum that pairs. I bet you there's a good tequila that pairs. Maybe there's a whole
We're not doing wine.
no.
No, because then our wives will abscond with our event.
Yeah.
They'll all show up here with their, it's only one glass. It's a half-gallon container. They're sloshing around. Yeah. No, none of that. We will do none of that. But, man, I'm sorry I missed it. I can't wait for the next one. It'll be a blast. And then, two, on the other event, second Sunday from 8 a.m. to noon every month, we do our car show out here. Now that it's summertime, hopefully the weather's getting better. That's fun because it's cars from, no matter what you like, it's going to be here, right? We got the supercars that pull up. We got the classics. We got, the race cars, the guys who, build them from the ground up, just focused on the 8th mile. You got drifters. You got everything that shows up. And it's pretty cool. And, everybody pretty much builds their car or worked really hard to get it. So they're all willing to geek out and have a good time over it.
That was the first. Actually, funny you bring that up. That was our first customer today. He came pulling in a Hellcat Red Line.
Okay, yeah. Wow.
And he goes, "Hey, I heard y'all do a car show thing." I said, "Yeah." And I told him about Cars and Coffee. It's the second Tuesday every month or Sunday every month, and it's from 8 to noon. We just kind of have a good time. No cost, just kind of show up. Talk about what you got. It's fun, right? Back to building that whole community event thing. He's like, man, I travel a lot. This is my baby. I'm back in town for a couple months. I'm ready to show it off. He goes, I'm gonna tell everybody. Apparently they got a car club it's out of Huntsville.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm telling everybody, we're gonna bring it out.
Well, so many of the car clubs like it because they can just bring out and geek out over their car. They don't have to worry about a trophy or an entry fee or, they just bring their baby out.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have to, spend 4 hours waxing it and pull it in here on a trailer. They get to drive it.
And then what I've seen more than anything in the last several ones we've had is you're seeing there's two different halves of people. There's guys that are done and they're ready to show it off. And then there's the guys that are in process that are proud of where they're at and they're wanting to talk about how they got to here and their plans forward. And the finished guys enjoy the process, and the process guys want to see that finish line.
No, we're all masochists. The guys who have finished, They're looking at it. They keep it for about 6 months. They've worked on it 20 years. They keep it for 6 months. They're like, all right, guess I'm ready to sell it and start something new. Life's been too easy for me lately. I hate them so much, but I love them so much. It costs money every time you get into it. So, but it's fun. And it's another little community, and that just clicks and works well in here. But I like the thing you were talking about, the pairing, maybe we could do that with the car stuff too. Like we do it with the whiskey. You have the whiskey, cigars, some other little things. We can do something like that with the car, the little farmer's market guy thing with that too.
We go out and start tasting different weight oils. But,
we can.
That's a 10W30 right there.
Yeah, start selling some, aircraft fuel and stuff like that alongside.
Circle Star air fresheners.
I like it.
There you go.
That's a good idea. I could absolutely see that.
Oh, but that's the question. What would you make it smell like? Hoppies? A little new
That's
gun
an easy.
smell?
It's easy. Yeah, new gun smell.
Yeah.
Yeah, freshly fired firearm.
Ooh.
I like that.
That cordite
that
smell?
powder. All right. So what else were we doing? So we were sending Boogie off. We had the cigar thing. We talked about the car thing. All the little events we're doing around here.
Well, that's the fun thing. Everyone's been coming in like, "What's your summer plans?" I said, I like to joke. We're kind of like a TV show. This is summertime when we get to try out the new stuff. What sticks, what doesn't.
Well, yeah. Get a credit. It's like the downtime for farmers, right? This is when you're doing your routine maintenance. You get everything ready. I've ordered the ball feeder that we had out here. I don't know if you remember. So I've got one of those on the way in. I think it holds 450, 500 pounds. So I'm going to put that out. And this will be the first year that my son has, and I'm not just going to say my son because I'm going to own it too, have our own nice little feeder and high stand set up. Mm-hmm. And what's great is we go out there anytime. We got family that lives out of the country and stuff. They can come in, have that feeder going year round, and now they'll be able to go up there and any time of the year shoot a pig because there's always pigs. And so that's what I'm prepping for right now. I'm trying to get it done and get my lanes cut and everything before the heat sets in because doing that stuff in August is no fun.
It's already hot.
Yeah.
I'm not doing a whole lot. I don't really have a great place to go deer hunt. We do have that pig place that I'm gonna head
Just
up.
say you're not. You're talking about for hunting. I was like, because you do dog shit nonstop.
Well, that's what I was going to get to in a second.
I figured.
As far as hunting wise, I don't really have a great place to go deer hunt, and I'm not a big deer hunter. I am prepping for elk this fall. I've been very unhappy with a couple things with my bow. I love my bow. Don't get me wrong, but there's something wrong with my broadhead or arrow setup that I'm not getting the consistency that I want, and it's probably me. Yeah. But even then, when I cheat up close to where 30 yards with my bow and my skill set's not a challenge. I should be able to start shaving fletchings, but the broadheads that I have or the arrows that I'm shooting or the fletchings that I have, and I was thinking this the other night, I'm just not grouping as tight as I think I could. And even some of them, every once in a while, the back of my arrow, I can tell it's not stable because instead of, a lot of times I can see it spin like a nice tight football spiral, but I'm getting some wobble out the back. You just pick those arrows out. You go grab it, put it in the side. That's going to happen, especially with you're shooting carbon, obviously. Oh, yeah. The carbon will gain a memory, especially if you do have one arrow that punches into the center punches that one hard enough or you pull it out wrong and you put a cant on it and you bend it just a little too much, you'll get that wobble. But I keep those, and those are my, they go in a special little thing. Those are my short range kill arrows. So those are my 30 yards and in for, if I'm not as worried about losing one at a pig or armadillo or muskrat or whatever. And I'm kind of breaking down those. But the other thing is, so a lot of what I'm doing right now is I'm shooting field points. Just getting there's some weird muscles in your back to draw and hold. And I'm after Montana, not 2 years ago, trying to sit there and draw like cross-legged, kneeling, sitting. I'm trying to do positional stuff and not to where I do that whole, where you do that big arc and over. I'm trying to be real tight about it. Yeah. Just the weird. If you're going up and coming down, you're going to be too high. You just want straight back, and then you want the ability to hold forever. That's what I'm doing. I'm counting to 20 or 30. I'm just trying to sit there and. But you said you've got your bow turned out like crazy high.
like as high as it'll go.
I shoot my bow like I carry my pistols. I carry a 45 because they don't make a 46. I draw 70 because it won't go 71.
Take it. See, I used to shoot faster, but I seem to lose more deer. Just when I noticed when I backed it down a little bit to like 55 pounds, that more often than not, the arrow wouldn't pass all the way through them. I could see it hanging out the other side, but it wouldn't pass all the way through. And as they ran, I knew it was still doing damage. And it helped me trail them too, because a lot of times if it's going super fast, they will not leave a blood trail at all. It's kind of like a 6.5 Creedmoor. They just...
Too quick.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to go this week and have him change them, go over to the bow shop, that I'm shooting a block target. You know, the stack foam that's probably, I don't know, 3 foot by 3 foot. It's actually called the block target. Yeah. But when I'm at 40 yards, that's what I like to practice around my backyard, like 30 to 50 yards. And I just kind of walk around and, you know, I don't range it. I just kind of know about where I'm in my backyard because I kind of want to learn in case that, you know, the elk walks out at 42 instead of 30, you know, how I make my adjustments and what my arrow is going to do. Just I'm trying to remove all these variables in my mind. And maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not. But I know at 40 yards, when I go to full draw, the peep I have in my string is so big, I can actually see all the way around my target. And so I have real thin front sight. The fiber optic comes out so small that I'm having to really, really focus on keeping everything dead center. And I think some of my grouping issue is just the same thing. If your pistol sights are too wide open, you're wiggling within it too much. You're not truly dead center down, you know, down the sight. That I'm going to go have them put in a more of a target or competition style peep sight. I'm going to talk to the guys there. I'm not 100% convinced on how small I want to go because I'm also worried about the, you know, hey, it's last 15 of daylight, first 15 of daylight. I want enough room that I can still see. But I was looking the other night and they make some that have like a little tritium bile or a little like glow shit on the back of it. That way I know that, hey, here it is, you know, and it's still nice and small. I'm thinking if I go a little finer, maybe that'll help solve some of my it's not target panic, it's more like target wobble. So.
And I'm trying to actively go the opposite direction. So I started, like most guys, with a recurve, got into compound bows really right when they were becoming popular when I was about 12, 13, and rode them out for the last 40 years. And I'm really, while you can, because that's a hard one. You know, it's instinctual shooting, and you don't have the luxury we do with the compound bow where you can pull it back and hold it. You know, you're not doing that with a 55-pound compound bow. You're pulling it back and letting it go.
Yep.
And I really like to do that. I don't know on an elk, but I'd love to do it on a whitetail or an exotic. I think that'd be super cool. So
I want to make my own bow. And I've got...
There's a lot to it. That'd be super gnarly. That'd be the coolest thing ever.
I've got way deep in the weeds on how to build the jigs and do the things. It
and we live in an area where literally the best wood in the world, the Osage orange, is considered. I mean, they ship it overseas. It's what the Native Americans around here use. They would trade it. I mean, it was so valuable. You know,
the hard part for that boat arc though is you have to find out where the grain is straight, and there's not a lot of straight grain in a boat arc.
Yeah, we got enough around here. We can find one for you.
Yeah,
we can keep looking.
But so
that'd be cool.
So that's kind of what I'm working on now. Most of my gear wise, as far as I've been doing this for a while now, that although I had an unfortunate incident with my sleeping bag on this last trip, that I rolled over in the middle of the night, and I carry a little backpacking cot with me, an ultralight cot, that my sleeping bag hit my stove and burned it. So
it's glad it wasn't super flammable like some materials just whoosh. You come out looking like a burnt marshmallow just rolling around. Help me.
I didn't think that little stove was that hot.
Help me, Tom Cruise.
I mean, like, instantly, like, burning the outside. There's down feathers everywhere. It was a nightmare. So I'm going to have to find a new sleeping bag. I already know which one I want. So I just have to get it. That's the only really upgrade to kit-wise outside of just getting my bow tuned right. But for me, kind of like Boogie, and that's where we really meshed well. You know, that was our common ground, is we were both real big into waterfowl. I think a lot of it is because I did have a lot of places to go deer hunt growing up, but there's always a lake, a river, a creek, or something. And so what I'm doing more than anything is I've got a really nice Labrador that we've been training and getting ready, and that's what we're working on right now is several days a week I go out and train for a couple hours. It just not my dog per se for a couple hours, but there's a group of folks that I get together with and we train and just trying to making sure he's keeping that fine razor's edge. That way he can mark multiples, he can run blinds, he's steady in the blind. That way, if I ever get that call that, hey, I got a big corporate hunt, I need a badass dog to pick up a bunch of birds, or and I've gotten an invite a lot of times that, hey, would you mind bringing your dog out here? We don't have one and we would like one. Sure, I'll go hunt with you. I just bring my dog. So, no, that's what I'm working on the most stuff. And really, my favorite thing is the dog work. I absolutely obsessed with it. It's fun taking. Well, yeah, I'm downplaying my my passion in the dogs.
I pick on him. I'm like, hey, we still got a job here, right? He's like, but I love dogs.
I do. I got two passions. I make guns work. I got to have a hobby, so I just pick dogs. Mm-hmm. So for those that listen and don't know, I'm new at this side of the sport. I just got into field trials, and I have a really nice dog named Chief, and he's young. He's not quite 2 yet. He's 19 months old. But we've been running field trials, been very successful, and we're qualified for the 2024 Derby Nationals, and that's really what I'm getting ready for, because we're going to go compete for the national championship in October, and cross your fingers, maybe win. So that's when I say I got a nice dog and I strive to have the best dog, I'm not lying.
He's working hard at it. So it'll all work out.
If he would just do what I say every single time, I don't need him to think. Just be a little I do need him to think, but be more.
He's probably thinking the same thing about you. He's like, just be consistent.
Oh no, that's 100% of it.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, every fault he has is right here.
Yeah.
I
just stick with one story.
And it's crazy when you get down into it. You talk about. It's so silly how something like. You stood an inch or 2 inches too far forward or too far back. You didn't really pay attention to where exactly his eyes were looking, or something as different as how much inflection I put into his name when I release him to go pick up a bird could change everything. There's a lot of times, like a real close bird, I may whisper it super, super soft, but maybe I get excited, or maybe he messed up and I'm a little mad at him. I can send him too hard or put too much inflection into his name. All of a sudden, like, you see him run, he's like, oh, I did wrong, and then just stuff starts to crater. It's the most enjoyable, frustrating thing I've ever found to do.
That's fun. Mm-hmm. So I know it's fun to watch, for sure. Jace, my kid, he loves watching them work. It is enjoyable to watch a well-trained dog like move around.
We several months ago, I was looking back I got a training journal, and I was writing in it the other day, and I just happened to see the page. This was last October, that we were doing a thing called swim by. This teaches a dog to enter water and swim past you. But what it also really do is when you have a dog at a greater distance and you need him to cast off a point or get into a channel or get into water, that he's basically compliant. And I needed a rectangular piece of water that had enough room on the outside that I could, send him in, stop them, cast them to one side, and really what you want them to do is to cast out of the water and carry a distance, and then you call them back over, and you just kind of, and there's stages to this and steps to this. But I was doing it, and by like day 2 of it, I was using some water over here in Navasota in one of the parks, and I was always kind of nervous, like the cops were going to get called because he's off leash, and you're supposed to have your dog on leash, but it'll work out. Either way, well, I was sitting there doing this in this wonderful rectangular piece of like retention pond water, and we were doing the stuff, and he'd come to heel, and I'd say back, and he'd go back, and I'd whistle stop him, and I'd tell him left, right, or back, and he was doing everything he was supposed to. And then I noticed there was this lady that was walking around like the concrete path. That was where she's doing every single morning. She's getting her exercise. And then like day 3, there's this park bench right behind where I was standing. I just take my bumpers and I throw them on the ground and, send them off. And she beat me there one day. And she goes, "Sir, do you mind if I just watch for a while?" I said, "I don't know what you're doing, but this is the most impressive thing I've ever seen. Like, your dog is listening to you tell it words. Like, you just blow your whistle, he'll stop and look at you, and then you just point, and he goes, and he just continues to go until you come back, and he just keeps doing it." She goes, "I don't know what you're doing, but I just want to watch you do it. It's amazing." I was like, and then for me, I was like, "Oh, this is pretty basic work." But for her, she's like, "I just want my dog to come say to me when I say its name." I was like, no. I want my dog to do exactly what I say, no matter how far it is. So I enjoy it. It's my fun.
You and Dustin and AKs, you just go off and I just look at you like, keep going, buddy. If it makes you happy, that's all that matters.
It does.
Yeah, that's all that matters. You know what makes me happy? Barbecue.
I do that.
I'm hungry.
And you came from College Station.
And I'm going back to College
You could have
Station.
brought lunch.
Yeah, I could have. That wasn't very nice. I should have brought lunch for everybody. But we've got a hamburger truck out here now.
Oh yeah,
Hey, and I think she's here like 7 days a week or close to it.
pretty close. I talked to her yesterday. So we partnered up, for lack of a better term. Sassy's Burger Shack. She's a lady who goes to our church, and she runs a halfway house for trafficked girls that are trying to get their life back on
18
track.
and older.
Yep. So, bad situation happened live. They were able to get out of it, but they don't really have the skill set yet to kind of go back into mainstream society. They just need help getting like driver's license, jobs, money, kind of getting out of that mentality, finding, their path again. And so she started selling hamburgers and other little dishes like that out of her shack at church. Try to raise money to help support her foundation and the house that, she's got some, what's she call them? Clients, maybe? She's got some girls that are there. She's got a very specific term for what she calls them. Patience. I don't think it's patience. Something like that. Either way. Yeah.
Forgive me, God.
So she's now coming out here several days a week to sell hamburgers and stuff to help support it. And I talked to her yesterday, and she's actually got on a little winery circuit. So some of the weekends she's going to be out going to some of the local wineries that are having events and selling hamburgers and stuff there.
That's awesome.
So
I avoid them at all costs now. I went with my wife and her friends for the Sunday winery farmers market type thing. I can't hang.
Yep.
I thought I could hang.
Wrong. The high proof wine gets you every time.
Good God. And then on the way back, because they're not eating crap. They're eating little pieces of cheese and meat and crackers. But they're just down in all this wine. And I'm done it. I'm telling them I'm done. And then somebody else gets another bottle, and then I get another bottle, because at that point, who cares? And then they're like, "Oh, okay, we're going to go. I'll have dinner." And then they drive to a restaurant and get another bottle of wine. And at this point, I'm like, "I'm going to go sit in the car." I think they did it on purpose.
They do.
They do. They just wanted me out of it. They're like, "Hey, pour him a little extra every time." But, oh, my God. But it's classy if it's in a wine glass.
It is.
So,
As long as you stick your
when you're
pinky out.
shopping. When you're
That's
shopping.
the plan.
It. So,
That's the requirement.
they're different than us. They're built different. Oh.
Well, guys, we appreciate y'all tuning in and listening to us.
Yes. We got a lot to do this week.
We got a lot of stuff coming on.
You're about to leave. For speaking of the dog thing,
I am.
he's leaving for a good spell.
Let's see. I don't know where I'm going yet, but I'll know tomorrow because the entry's closed at midnight. But I am going to hit the road for a week. We ran a field trial. He's for a young dog, a dog under 2 years of age. In the field trial is known as the Derbies, and I ran a Derby a month or so ago, and we won. And so that qualified me for the 2024 Derby National. That's in October. But there's a thing that I want called the National Derby List. So if you get 10 points, I got 5 for winning. If I get 5 more, I make the National Derby List. And it's kind of like a who's who of young dogs. It means nothing, but it's a little braggadocious thing you get to have. You have we call it an NDL dog, National Derby List dog. And I'm halfway there. I think I can win another trial before October when he ages out, and I want to. That's my goal. You talk about, like Dustin is AKs and me and my
I'm
dogs.
listening to you, and I'm sure all the other listeners, except for 2 guys who know about dogs, are like, "What the heck is
what
he
are you
talking about?"
But we're either going to head to, and on this trip where I'm going one of 2 places. I'm either going to hit a field trial in South Dakota and Minnesota, on back-to-back weekends, or I'm going to hit a field trial in Maryland and New York State.
That's funny because, like, it's the same week that Boogie's leaving. You can just swing in there, like, a day after he gets up there and be like, hey, dude, what's up?
Hey, what's up? Well, trust me, I don't think I haven't thought about just calling Jeff up. Be like, hey, can I spend the night in one of your spare bedrooms?
Oh, yeah. Scope it out. Circle Star 2.
Oh, there you go.
There, Montana.
Circle Star North.
Yeah.
Oh, in Montana for sure. That way you can maintain here and I'll maintain there. Will be perfect.
I don't know. It'd be hard to compete with what is it, Bighorn? Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll do
Out of Ennis. Hey, if you want to go to an awesome gun store, Bighorn
in Ennis.
Armory out of Ennis is next level. They got everything.
So hear me out. Daniel maintains this one. I'll take Montana. You take the keys, and we have 3. Not a bad, and we just rotate through.
I can see that. I can see that. They're not as receptive to firearms in the keys, but I'd be absolutely cool.
We could be key adjacent.
Key adjacent. There you go. Open up a little gun store there.
So
I'm down.
So
Just
guys,
have our fishing location.
Y'all, if y'all haven't, go to Circle Star on Facebook because our last one got taken down, and give a like because I have it set up for all of our events coming up that you'll be able to see the event times, all the information about it. That way it'll pop up and give you a reminder like, hey, something fun's happening this weekend. We're also going to have it on the website. Or just swing by and we've got flyers and we'll help you put it in your Google Calendar.
And a biggie too is because we are getting kicked off of social media all the time. We make new pages, we get kicked off.
Oh,
it's
the
just
newsletter.
It's a thing. If you go to our website and just scroll
the very
down,
bottom.
and scroll down and it says sign up for info or whatever. All you got to do is put your email address in there, and you will get our weekly newsletter that we write, and then we do one, which I got to put together, one monthly one.
So it'll give you what's happening, any sales specials, rebates, what's going on here, something fun. So we throw some recipes in there.
Yeah,
Maybe a little embarrassing photo of Jason that I have access to.
it could happen. Yeah, but you don't want to start that one with me, sir.
You're like 11, 13 years old. How old are you in that photo?
We could do this.
We could go to war.
Oh yeah, and
I was a beautiful child, sir.
Oh, I wouldn't post pictures of you, sir. Mm-hmm. It'd be of your wife. I go after the family.
Oh yeah, no. I'll share those.
I go directly after family.
Yeah. We'll,
I want to watch you suffer.
Dude, I got a whole bunch of her old photos. That's what I posted on her birthday. You think I don't burn that bridge? Come on.
I've got so many. Nobody hit the wall of puberty as hard as I did. I smacked right into it. You could tell by looking at my face. It was awesome. I had the giant glasses, the braces. I had everything. The bowl haircut, Metallica shirt on. Yeah, it was horrible.
Rat tail?
No, I was never a rat tail kid.
No, I could see that.
Yeah. I had to keep wearing a headbang.
There you go.
Yeah. Guys, thank y'all so much for listening. Y'all need anything, just give us a shout. Y'all keep having fun in the outdoors, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
You've been listening to the Circle Star Firearms and Outdoors podcast with your hosts Jake Cawthon and Jason Westmoreland. Be sure and subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. New episodes drop every Monday, and catch up in between episodes on the Circle Star Minute every Friday. For more information, visit CircleStarFirearms.com, or better yet, come see our great new store at 6320 Highway 90 in Anderson, Texas. Until next time, safe shooting, folks.